Hey everyone, I'm Manesh and I'm the Psychedelic Scientist. In this video, I'm going to be giving you the real truth about the therapeutic effects of psychedelic drugs. Psychedelics are these powerful substances that can radically alter our conscious experience. They can alter our thinking, our emotion, our perception, and also our sense of self. You might have heard nowadays in the mainstream media, there's a lot of stuff going around about how psychedelics can treat mental health conditions and how they can be useful for all sorts of applications. A lot of people are skeptical, there's still a lot of stigma around them, and really, what are psychedelics and how can they do these things, and can they really? And so in this video, I'm going to dive into some of the recent research looking at how psychedelics might be able to treat mental health conditions. So this research is being actually done at multiple leading institutions across the world and kind of following up on a lot of the research that was done in the 50s and 60s. And so this research so far, generally speaking, has shown that psychedelics have potential in treating depression and end-of-life anxiety in terminal cancer patients and different forms of addiction, such as for tobacco addiction and alcoholism. So in this video, I'm going to describe two main examples to give you a sense of the effectiveness of psychedelic psychotherapy and how it might work. And these two examples are for depression and end-of-life anxiety. So depression. So a study recently done at Imperial College London at the Center for Psychedelic Research looked at psilocybin-assisted psychotherapy, and psilocybin is the active compound in so-called magic mushrooms, and they used it for treatment-resistant depression. So patients who suffer from treatment-resistant depression often have had depression for multiple years and have not been able to get out of it no matter what they do. They've been prescribed a standard antidepressant drug like Prozac or been given multiple rounds of psychotherapy, and no matter what, they're just stuck in this negative rut. And so for this study, they gave one low-dose and one high-dose session with psilocybin in a therapeutic setting and found that at a 1 week later, 2/3 of the patients who underwent this study no longer even qualified for depression. And when they did a follow-up 3 months later, still around 50% of the subjects didn't qualify for depression. And then yet again, they did another follow-up at 6 months later, and 60% of subjects still had significant reductions in their depressive symptoms. And remember, these are people who have tried many things and just couldn't get out of their depression. And second is for end-of-life anxiety. So this corresponds to patients who are recently given a terminal diagnosis for cancer and told that they don't have much longer to live. And they're experiencing a lot of anxiety and negative thought patterns and depressive symptoms around their impending death. And for this, they also gave a couple sessions of psychedelic psychotherapy. Even at 6 months later, 60% of these subjects no longer qualified for depression or anxiety. And so basically, it seems that it allowed a number of these patients to come to terms with their death in a healthy way and able to die in a more peaceful and positive state. And you might be asking right now, how do psychedelics do this? How can you take this drug and do some therapy and after 2 sessions have lasting changes even 6 months later? And so one way researchers have approached this is through structured interviews. So they asked the patients in these studies, did this treatment work for you? And if so, how? And then they took all their responses and analyzed them in a quantitative way to find the general themes that were present. And 2 major themes that emerged were, one, a sense of renewed connectedness to themselves, to others in the world. And patients often described escaping the mental prison which their mental health disorder had placed them in and rekindling their sense of connection to the universe and to others and themselves. And then 2 was a sense of acceptance. A lot of people in these studies were struggling with these conditions because they were holding on to negative things in their past. And psychedelics allowed them to forgive people who had wronged them previously, which could be a family member who abused you as a child, or very deep psychological wounds, and also accept just what has happened to them in their life in general and come to terms with it. And it seems that by allowing these subjects to go deep into their past experiences and have new insights and perspective on them, they can really reformulate who they are and their outlook on life. And so in general, it seems that psychedelics can exert these lasting changes because they really take us deep into our psychology, close to the roots of what's causing our mental health disorders, and give us the opportunity to really change, integrate, and acknowledge things that are down there. And so again, compare this to standard treatments where you take this drug, it kind of changes the chemical balance in your brain and you artificially feel happier while also getting a whole number of side effects. I don't know about you, but I would much prefer a drug that allows me to have this internal introspective experience to make genuine change rather than throwing my symptoms under the rug. And so by doing this, psychedelics have huge potential to revolutionize psychiatry and change how we approach the treatment of mental health conditions, and really give us this window of opportunity to potentially heal our deepest wounds. Alright, thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to give this video a like and make sure to hit that subscribe button for the latest insights into psychedelic science.